money, motivation. You pay me more and I'll jump ship. I'll come and work for you if you just give me better benefits. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Think we're money motivated? What do you say to 53 professional football players who make more money than most of us will ever see in 27 lifetimes? You can't motivate them with money. You can't motivate them with fame, with fortune, with glory. You can't, can you? So what motivates them? It's the same thing that motivates us. It's expectation. So the first thing I do when I go into an NFL locker room is I find out what the captain's name is, and I get one of the assistant coaches to help me. And we bring a broomstick into the front of the room. And I have them hold the broomstick about this high off of the floor, only about maybe 18 inches off the floor, maybe 12 inches off the floor. And then ahead of time, I get the name of the stud muffin hunk of burning love on the team. You know, the one guy who walks like he sat on something hot, takes him 13 minutes to come from the back of the room. Huzzah! And I call him by name and I say, hey, come up here. Do you think you can jump over this broomstick? Dead silence. They're all looking at me like, maybe you don't know who I am. Maybe you don't know how much I make. I don't need to listen to you. What are you? I go along with, hey, do you think you can jump over this broomstick? He finally goes, yeah. I said, then do it. So he pulls one of these. And then here comes the leadership lesson 101. Why did you only jump that high? And the classic answer is always the same. Because that's all you asked me to do. And then I know ahead of time the reason why I picked this guy is because he's got the highest vertical leap of anybody on the team. Dallas Cowboys. They had a guy who just stood there and he could leap 41 inches high. That's unbelievable. So, hey, I know you can jump 41 inches high. Why did you only jump 18 inches? Why did you only jump 12 inches to get over this broomstick? And again, he says, because that's all you asked me to do. Interesting concept about leadership. And before we can lead others, we have to lead ourselves. Before we can get others to trust us, we must first trust ourselves. Are you pushing yourself to the highest possible limit, or do you need someone else in your life to help you get there? That's what leadership is. When the water in the lake goes up, all the boats rise together. But what if we're spending our time in a mediocre society based on minimum requirement? Look around. Is that what we've created in America? Minimum requirement. We can't expect someone to come early to work and stay late unless we pay them overtime. Is that the America that was the greatest country on our planet? Our leadership right now is really shaky in all of our states, in every level. And the reason why is because there's no trust. Somehow we've got to have someone step up and re-energize America and say, this is what it's founded on, trust, and now let's just start doing the right thing simply because it's the right thing to do from the inside out. Having said all this boring stuff, let's just kind of talk about practical application leadership, and then we'll open it up to questions at the end and see if you have anything on your mind that I want to talk about. Practical application to me is about taking what we know and applying it to what we want to accomplish. Do you agree? Classic example, I remember when I got my first kiss back in college and trying to figure out the technique to get another one. And at that time in my life, I was an athlete and I couldn't see how going to math class could possibly help me become a better professional football player. I failed to see the practical application. Then one day it dawned on me. Mathematics is important. In fact, the sooner that I learn mathematics, the sooner that I can start applying it to my everyday life to help all of my dreams come true, including getting this next kiss, which was so important to me. This poem describes exactly what happened as I used mathematics to accomplish my goal. I'm sure the guys in here can relate. He's teaching her arithmetic. He said it was his mission. He kissed her once, he kissed her twice, and said, now that's addition. And as he added smack by smack in silent satisfaction, she sweetly gave the kisses back and said, now that's subtraction. Then he kissed her, she kissed him without an explanation, then both together smiled and said, that's multiplication. Then Dad appeared upon the scene and made a quick decision. He kicked that kid 3 blocks away and said, that's long division. Practical application. You're in school. How does this relate to my major? How is this going to help me become a successful whatever? Somehow we've got to understand that practical application, again, is applied knowledge. It doesn't do us any good to know how to read a book unless we're motivated to pick one up and actually do it. All the information in the world is not going to make a person successful. It's like the guy who has 3 PhDs, one in philosophy, one in psychology, one in sociology. He doesn't have a job, but at least he can explain why. It's not about grade point average. It's about practical application of the knowledge that you garnered as you went to class. I was not on the honor roll every time. One time I came home with a report card, had 4 F's and 1 D on it. My dad's response, son, looks to me like you're spending too much time on one subject. That was a joke. I think it's funny. Some of you are like, wow, that's not funny. Wow, you stupid idiot. Why would I wheel the piano over here? As soon as Ashley mentioned in my bio that I was a songwriter, recording artist, I decided I would teach you something about practical application leadership. And it stems from music. How many of you are musicians? What do you do?
Drums.
That's a musician. You just beat on things, man. You play?
Yes, I play the cello.
Cool. You're on drugs, man. Piano. Cool. So I'm a guitar player. I'm going to just hack away here in a second. Anybody else who plays? What do you do? Cello. Very cool.
Bass guitar.
Wow. Hardest going to find in a band. Yes?
I play the harmonica.
You do? I should just give you the rest of my time. This is so cool. How many notes are there in music? 8? Contrairement Frere in the year 1685, a very famous music composer in Western Europe. He decided he wanted more options. He's the guy that put the black keys on the piano. There are 12 notes in music. 7 white keys, 5 black keys. 12 notes. They repeat themselves every 12 tones. That's what we call an octave. How does that relate to you? How does that relate to leadership? How does that relate to practical application? Every single song ever written was written with the exact same 12 notes. Do you know this? The only difference between one song and another song is the order in which those 12 notes fall and the timing and spacing in between the notes. Proof. Whatever you want to call that. How about a little rock and roll? That sounded like heavy metal. Let me go back to rock and roll. And then rhythm and blues. So, my point. Yeah. My point, every single one of those different genres of music was written with the exact same 12 notes. So here's the